What's happening, everybody, and welcome to CFC Fan TV. Of course, we have a huge doubleheader coming up against Liverpool, and we are going to start with our game in the Carabao Cup. I am delighted to be joined by the one and only Chris Pajak from Redmen TV. Chris, thank you so much for coming on.
No problem at all, mate. I'm a sucker for punishments, going on Chelsea channels.
Oh, mate, how are you feeling, generally speaking, about your start to the season?
It's been brilliant, mate. It's been the best start to a season Liverpool have ever had. Literally, we've never won 7 games at the start of the season before, and being able to watch the team perform in the way that we are is just incredible. And going to watch the footy is what it should be. It's a privilege, and we go there and we pay our money to support the side, and what we're seeing in return is good football, wins, and we're sitting pretty at the top of the league. It's only 2 points, but I didn't think we'd have this good a start to the season. We're entering a really strong run of games for us, and we've come through the first 3 of them with flying colours.
Yeah, I suppose now it really does start for you. I had a look at your fixtures, and they're very, very intense, aren't they? Starting with the doubleheader against us. How are you feeling ahead of this Carabao Cup game?
There's a little bit of trepidation because I don't know whether Klopp will do this, but I don't think we should go full strength in this game because I just feel like we've got a genuine chance at doing something special this season. And for me, I wouldn't risk it for a little run in the Carabao Cup. We did so well in the Champions League last season to reach the final. We did well just to get in the top 4 while we had that run in the Champions League. And it feels to me like we still need to solidify our place in the league. It's been far too long where Liverpool have been in the Champions League 2 seasons on the bounce. It's been years. And although the squad's much better and it's the best squad I've ever seen, I just wonder whether that squad can sustain us through 4 competitions. So we had Tottenham and we had Paris Saint-Germain and we had Southampton before these 2 games, and then we've got Napoli after them and then Manchester City. So we're right in the thick of something here. And the league game against Chelsea for me is more important. Obviously, Napoli away is a huge game, and then we've got Man City, which it's Man City. They're the best team in the league. So for me, I'd be looking at maybe making some changes for this game. But making changes doesn't necessarily mean we'll put a crap team out, whereas in the past it may have done. Whereas
See,
now
do you know what's interesting about that, Chris? Because obviously last season, you had, looking at your season compared to our season last year, you had such a buzz. I was so jealous of your season, because I think football fans like us, going to the game, you're a bit like a junkie, aren't you? You're kind of chasing the buzz. You're going for the buzz. You think, right, where can we land on our feet? Where can we get one over on our rivals or whatever? And in terms of the buzz, you had it time and again last season. Like when you think of Liverpool's season last season, you don't even acknowledge the fact. It's not even in the conversation that you knocked Everton out of the cup. And, things like that should be massive. But because you had so many other highs, that's not even in this conversation. But the criticism is, you had a great season. I genuinely believe that. We had an average season. I genuinely believe that. But we won a cup. Is the issue for Liverpool that you just have gone far too long for a club of your magnitude without silverware? And therefore, is this Carabao Cup game not massive?
And it might be to Jurgen Klopp, but it's not to me. It's not. Winning trophies is obviously the best in football, but it's not the be-all and end-all of football. There's stories to be had and stories to be told of other journeys that you make. Now, people were laughing at Liverpool in the summer because we lost the Champions League final, but that was one of the best seasons I've had as a Liverpool fan, and yet there was no silverware at the end of it, Rory. I remember that. I'll remember that season much more than I remember winning the Carling Cup in 2012 or whatever it was called back then. You know what I mean? Under Kenny. So yes, silverware is huge. Yes, Liverpool needs to win trophies. We say it ourselves, Liverpool exists to win trophies, and we do. Yeah. But going to Porto and swatting them 5-0, beating Manchester City home and away in the Champions League, going through against a good Roma side and playing Real Madrid in the Champions League final. I was buzzing years ago when I got to go and see Liverpool versus Real Madrid in the Bernabeu. I was buzzing for that one. We went to do it in a Champions League final. I went to a Champions League final as a supporter of my club. Yes, we didn't win it. I've been to the Europa League final as a supporter of my club. But there's journeys and there's games and there's moments, and that's what I'm in it for. I'm in it for the stories, and I've grown up on my dad telling me stories of him following the Reds, and I wanted one for myself. I wanted one where we could have old big ears at the end of it. It wasn't to be. I am less happy, but it doesn't affect me in that way, because this season, going and beating Leicester away from home, was brilliant. I get just as much enjoyment out of beating Leicester away as I do out of beating Southampton at home. You know, they're just wins, and if you can't celebrate wins, what are you in it for? If you're just there for the trophy at the end of the season, I'm sorry, there's only a couple of teams that win trophies. You've got to celebrate your wins along the way, enjoy them, and be taken along for the ride.
Okay, so let's say that Klopp adopts a similar philosophy to you there, and is going to rest players, bit of rotation. Who are we likely to see? Because I'm so terrified of like everyone in world football, actually. We're all terrified of your front three. Will they be rested? All of them?
I would. I can't imagine that he'll rest all of them, to be honest with you. I think, you've got to pick and choose your battles, and you've got to respect Chelsea. And you've got to respect Sarri as well, what he's been able to do. And, the way you might say to me that they're not playing the best football in the world, but you're getting results. And results is what matters at this stage of the season, especially after the World Cup and everything that comes from that. So I think Trent Alexander-Arnold will probably be rested. We've got Nathaniel Clyne there, who hasn't had a game this season. And he's not a bad guy to bring back in.
No,
a couple of years ago, he was one of the best right-backs in the country. Left-back, it's a toss-up between Moreno and Robertson. The centre-halves, Van Dijk got a rib injury, so it's unlikely that he'll figure, which is a huge loss for us. Yeah. He's just so good. I mean, he's next level. Like
he's actually. Do you know what? I think. Would I be right in saying this? Could I make a case and not sound like an idiot for Van Dijk being your most important player?
Yeah, you absolutely could, because the level that Liverpool have gone up levels since Virgil van Dijk came in, and you'd say to yourself, well, listen, one centre-back can't make that much of a difference. Well, I'm sorry, but he has, and he does. And not only that, we've got Joe Gomez playing alongside him, and we bought him for £3.5 million from Charlton, and we got Trent Alexander-Arnold for nothing because he's come up through the ranks of Liverpool fan, and we bought Andy Robertson for £8 million. So you could look at that back four and go, I think that's the back four that Liverpool will play for the next however many years.
Yeah.
It's cost us £86.5 million, and 75 of that was spent on one of the players. Our defence and goalkeepers cost us about 150 million quid, sorry. And that still seems like a bargain to me.
Yeah, it does. It is.
And Virgil van Dijk is putting his arm around Joe Gomez. He's talking him through games. He's a leader on the pitch. He's a captain on the pitch. He's imperious in defence. He can head the ball, clear the ball. He's great at reading the game. He's got like a danger sense, like fucking Spider-Man. Do you know what I mean? He understands where it is, and he's calm. And he's a calming influence on the whole side. He's genuinely already one of the best centre-backs I've ever watched.
Really? Yeah. Oh, that's such high praise as well when I think of the players that you've been fortunate enough to watch there. So who do you think will play? Who will be the centre-half pairing for this Carabao Cup game?
I think Matip will definitely play. Okay. And then it's whether Lovren's fit. He's been back in training since Wednesday last week. So it would be... I think it's about time he got a game of football under his belt. So it could be Lovren Matip. It's a centre-back partnership that played together.
From our perspective, that's a far more vulnerable back line, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, okay, definitely.
You're cheering me up, Chris. I like this so much.
But I might be completely wrong here, mate, and he might take it dead serious and go with Gomez and Matip, who finished the game at the weekend.
Okay.
I don't think Van Dijk will play because he's got a bruised rib. And I think with Chelsea in the league at the weekend, he picked it up against PSG, so it's unlikely that he'll figure. I think Van Dijk comes back in for the league game.
Okay. And what about, so who's going to replace, say, Firmino, Salah? Will they play?
I don't know. Genuinely, we don't know, because Jurgen this season has played the same team, most of the games. He's not really rotated that much.
This is the first opportunity, isn't it? This is the first real opportunity to play the squad, to rotate.
That's it, yeah. I mean, Sturridge came in a couple of games ago, scored the goal.
Got a goal over it, hasn't it? He's going to play and score. It's just written in the stars.
He loves Chelsea. There's a young lad, Curtis Jones, who lit up pre-season. And if he starts, he could be like, at 17, he's one of the most exciting players I've seen.
I don't know too much about him. What position will he play?
He's a winger by trade, but he was playing centre midfield for us. That sort of transitional midfielder that joins the attack. He was playing that. He's skillful. And he's just got this cockiness about him. Like, he comes into the side, he's not arsed. He's just going to pick the ball up and run with it. And he's a flair player, like what you like. He pick the ball up, he'll do something, he'll try something. And then you've got the likes of Daniel Sturridge, who's probably going to come in. James Milner was rested at the weekend. He might come back in, who's been arguably our best player this season as well. Henderson's not started enough games. Wijnaldum's been brilliant. Salah, will he play, won't he play? I'm not sure. But Shaqiri's probably going to definitely start. And he's been good for us as well.
Right. So this is what I'm getting from this is, regardless of the side that he picks, whether he decides to rest players or not, it's a very strong team you've got there, isn't it? It's a very strong squad at Liverpool's disposal at the moment.
It is, yeah. And listen, I've not even mentioned Fabinho. Fabinho hasn't started for us this season. We signed him for like 50 million quid, and he's not started the game. I think he's come on once, and I didn't even notice him coming on because we just scored the winner against PSG. And we were just celebrating and singing And I literally, you can watch the fan cams of us after the game. They tell me that he came on in the fan cams, and I didn't have a clue.
God, you're in do you know what? I know this isn't the video for this, but just because this is the first chat we've had this season, I'm going to ask you anyway. Is the fervour around Liverpool that you are going to win the league? Is that the belief, and is that what you're doing this year?
It certainly is from a large proportion of the fan base. Yeah, I mean, I think Paul probably thinks that Liverpool will win the league this season. I think Liverpool can win the league. I just think Manchester City's squad's better. I think they're better set up personally for winning in the Premier League than we are, and I think we're better set up for European football than they are.
Right.
You know, they're about controlling games and, you know, the quick movements and the passing and the 1-2s and all that, and they can pull apart any team. But Liverpool are very much about if we're able to counter-attack and transition quickly, there's no better side in world football than us at that. And it just feels like over 2 legs in Europe, that's really good for us. But we can sometimes, and we've not seen it this season yet. Last season we were getting stifled by teams and we were running out of ideas. When the space was closed down and there was a low block, we'd struggle. Definitely seems like we've made an attempt to change that. You know, we're the top scorers from set pieces this season with 5 in 6 games. You know, we scored from 4 corners this season. Sturridge in the first game, Wijnaldum against Tottenham. Last game out, Matip scored a header and Firmino scored against Leicester. Last season alone, we scored 11 goals from set pieces. This season, we've scored 5 in 6.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge.
And that's like those marginal gains that we it looks like we're working on behind the scenes.
Yeah, the blocks are building, aren't they? You're definitely moving in the right direction.
How many times over the years did you have Terry pop up with fucking winners dead late in games?
It's so valuable that, and this is one of my big worries about Chelsea. When you look across the team, it's all very gifted, but there aren't enough goals in it. And the fact that, you know, we're very easy to stop us scoring because you stop our best player. If you stop Eden Hazard, chances are Chelsea won't score a goal. Whereas back in the day, you know, you might stop Arjen Robben, but John Terry will nick a goal, or, you know, Frank Lampard will
score a deflected goal.
Exactly.
Oh.
So yeah, it's a worry for me, and I can certainly tell how spoilt you are. So back to the Carabao Cup. Let's just put your neck on the line and have a score prediction from you.
I think it's going to penalties, mate. I think with no extra time, it's going to go to penalties, and I'm going to go a Liverpool win on penalties, and maybe something like a 1-1 or a 2-2 draw to get us there. You know, I do think Klopp will rotate his players. I don't think that means we're certainly playing a very weak side, but I would like to see Curtis Jones play. I think he deserves it off his performances in pre-season. And listen, this could be the game where Shaqiri gets another start and has a big impact. But, you know, we've got to respect Chelsea and what they're about this season as well. So it's going to be difficult. But it's going to be a cracker. If you dominate possession, that might suit us a little bit.
Yeah. Playing a break at home almost. Yeah. It's going to be a cracker, and it's obviously the first of a double header. So I'll be speaking to you after this one and ahead of the next one, I hope.
Yeah, we will do. Definitely, mate. I've really enjoyed it.
Chris, thank you so much for coming on. Guys, thank you all so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Make sure that you head over to Redmen TV, check out the video that I did on their channel, talking about Chelsea's chances in this competition. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and click the subscribe button on your Blues.